Hello and welcome to a special night in Minneapolis, Minnesota, where the South Carolina Gamecocks have been coronated as your national champions with a 64-49 victory over the UConn Huskies. I'm Gabe Ibrahim alongside Megan Gauer and Aaron Barzilai from the Her Hoop Stats crew. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Her Hoop Stats. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and subscribe to us wherever you're getting podcasts. Great stuff. Let's get into the game. South Carolina completes their wire-to-wire championship season with a pretty sound beatdown of the UConn Huskies. Aaron, let's get your take first. What was the one thing that kind of stuck out to you tonight, or what's your big reaction to it?
Thank God for Kentucky.
Right?
I think there was a little bit of intrigue when we entered the tournament because South Carolina lost that game in the conference tournament. And so, they clearly had been the number one team all year, both in the rankings as well as our Her Hoop Stats rating. We gave them a 71%, 72% chance to win. I think we predicted a score of 63-57. So a little off, but not too bad. I think we beat the books, though. Always good. And that was roughly the odds we also had against Stanford in the Final Four, right? And so they were the favorites, and they showed that they did. It wasn't pretty. We can talk about where they rank in the annals of NCAA 40 NCAA champion, the 40th right NCAA champion. But kudos to them. So impressive. Destiny Henderson. She went 3 for 6 tonight, 3 for 4 on Friday, so she's 6 for 10 in the tournament. Good time to kind of heat up, and they needed it because UConn. I was impressed at how they kept fighting, particularly in the third quarter. Before it was clear that they weren't going to do it, but I was a little nervous in the first quarter, and they stuck with it. That was impressive.
Yeah. So the way it started off was inauspicious, to say the least, for UConn. They start off the game 4 of 9 from the field. Turning the ball over left and right, 0-2 from 3, just absolutely nothing going against the South Carolina defense, because South Carolina came out extremely prepared for all of UConn's pet sets. I thought Destiny Henderson did an excellent job, especially in that first quarter, of putting her foot down on the defensive end and making sure Paige Beckers didn't get loose early. And I think that's kind of the thing that we were talking about once we knew that this matchup was going to happen. Megan, was if Paige gets going, UConn has a chance to win. Right. And if Paige got going, I would probably say UConn would probably win. But she was 6 of 13 for 14 points, which is a good game, but not by her standards, right?
Right. And I wouldn't hang this on Paige,
no.
too. I think it was the rest of UConn's backcourt, which we can get to in a minute, didn't really just didn't have a good game. But I think the thing that stood out in the first quarter, all those things you said hurt UConn, but what really killed them was the glass. They could not get a defensive rebound to save themselves. And really the first half, South Carolina basically got all of their own misses. I think well over half their points were coming on second chance opportunities. So it didn't really matter that South Carolina was actually shooting well worse than UConn was from the floor, because they just kept giving them second and third and fourth chances to get points.
Yeah, a couple of quick stats before you go, Gabe. So at one point, I think South Carolina had 18 offensive rebounds and 17 baskets. So that's kind of crazy. And they ended up, I believe their offensive rebounding rate, they got 53.8% of their own misses tonight, 21 out of 39, which is the highest that we have in a championship game in the Her Hoop Stats era. Shout out to everybody who uses that phrase.
Yes.
The first time I saw that, I got a kick out of it. But that's the most in a championship game dating back. We have it through the 2009-2010 seasons of the 2010 NCAA tournament. So it was just dominant, right? I mean, they didn't shoot that well. South Carolina was 22 for 60 tonight.
Yes.
So it is remarkable that they were able to still win by what? It's getting late, but 15 points.
Yeah, it was also UConn's worst night on the defensive glass in a long time. Yeah. It was their worst defensive rebounding rate since 2017, and their worst in the tournament since 2013.
Wow.
So, yeah, rough night for them.
Well, and that's
I mean, credit to South Carolina. I understand a lot of that, but
What?
In the backcourt too.
I thought to end on the point of offense rebounding, Aliyah Boston. There's only so much we can say of her, but I don't think it's even enough. 11 points, 16 rebounds, 3 assists. It was kind of it's a ho-hum game for her, right? But her dominance on the glass was not just from those rebounds. It was the box outs, it was the fouls, it was the way she wears you down. On the offensive glass and just on offense, period. And then on the defensive end, she was outstanding as well. She wins the most outstanding player for the tournament, and well deserved. She should sweep all the awards, because I think she had one of the greatest seasons of all time, which is something we can get into in a little bit. But you know, she was outstanding in her minutes tonight, and I think she was a huge reason why. But you know, to bring it back to that backcourt, because I want to let you guys know something. So last night, you know, we all hung out as media folk do, and I was hanging out with Megan and Russ Steinberg. Where's Russ? Would be Russ's like proper title?
He's with the
He's been
Boardroom.
in the next, yeah.
He's been everywhere. You've heard of him. And so I think I said something to the effect of, South Carolina's backcourt is just as good as UConn's. And the look that I got from these two, I wish I could have taken a picture of it. I really wish I could have. Because they looked at me like I had just landed from the planet Mars and had never seen these two teams play. And I got a 10-minute soliloquy from the two of them, even though it's not a soliloquy. I know you theater nerds, about why the UConn backcourt is so much better than South Carolina's backcourt. Well, folks, Destiny Henderson, 26 points, 9-20 shooting. Zia Cook, 11 points on 5 of 13 shooting. We don't have to talk about the rest. Just taking the stuff that's good for my points. Kristen Williams, 1 of 7 from the field for 2 points. Rough night for her. Paige Beckers, as we mentioned, didn't go supernova. And AZ Fudd also, as a freshman, didn't have a great night tonight.
3
1
shots.
of 3.
She was, yeah, so AZ Fudd was sick.
Okay.
So that is part of that, I think. She didn't play that many minutes. I think was trying to play through stomach bug type thing, but just wasn't.
Or she caught the cold that I did because it's snowing in Minnesota at the
Did you
moment.
interview her in the breakout room?
No, maybe. Oh, God, did I cause this? No. So, Megan, can you say I was right?
I still, out of every other day talent,
sure.
I would still argue that UConn has the better backcourt. But tonight, South Carolina's backcourt was better. Destiny Henderson was the best guard on the floor tonight. I'm not going to take that away from her. She was clearly the best guard on the floor tonight. I still don't agree in the grand scheme.
In the aggregate?
Yeah. In case everyone was wondering what media people talk about after 5 beers, this is it.
Yes.
We're not very exciting.
We talk about exactly what you think we talk about. No, but I thought, hey, I could have looked really stupid.
Yeah.
Because I've seen Destiny Henderson not have great games.
Right.
And we've seen Zia Cook struggle. And she still struggled from 3, and I hope her shot gets right next year. And Bree Beal, she was 1 of 7. Mm-hmm. So she was not, now she's more of a 3, I think, than a 2. Mm-hmm. But, Henderson just absolutely went off. I think she really did feed off that defensive energy and being able to be, what her role today was really just to stay on the perimeter and make sure that no one got into the middle. So she would get under a screen, switch out, and if she was getting pulled down to the post, she would be scrambled out by a big, right? And they did just an excellent job of scouting that, of understanding what their roles were, and I think that really got her going, honestly, on the offensive end. When their shots aren't going in, it's a lot easier to make your shots, and then she got some open threes because that's what teams let up against South Carolina, and then she was going.
Here's my question for you, Gabe, because I think as a tiebreaker, I think I agree with Megan. Yeah. I would definitely give it to Destiny Henderson tonight. It's not even taking it away; it's giving it to her. Yeah. She was amazing. I was wondering because she played well both games, where that would stack up for just the MOP of the Final Four. Yeah. But obviously Boston is their clear leader. But I couldn't decide how much of UConn's problems, is the great defense of South Carolina. It wasn't really so much I thought UConn playing well as just, South Carolina was suffocating on defense. And I guess what I do wonder is if you flip the backcourts, the South Carolina backcourt on the UConn team facing the rest of South Carolina, would they have done any better? That's my kind of hyper-rational question and assessment of it.
No, that's why I was thinking about that when Megan was talking. It's a lot easier to play when your bigs are dominating, right?
Yeah.
And their bigs were dominating, right? Saxton played really well. Boston played really well. So I think that was, you're right.
Who blocked Fudd on that in the long jumper? I forget who that was.
Oh,
was that Boston? Ducharme got sort of stuffed a couple of years. So it was just they ran into a wall. It just felt every single time there was so little space. Paige got a few of those mid-range jumpers. At one point,
she had a couple crazy ones that were just I don't know how she got that off, but
well, she did. I thought she did a good job of a little snake dribble and getting to her spot and rising up. And so she was 4 to 7 at one point, but then I think she missed a couple more. And that's kind of get away.
No, and it was there was a time, right? I think in that second quarter.
Yeah.
It felt like Paige was going to take over.
Yeah, she kind of went into that mode where she hit a couple baskets back to back, and you're kind of all right, UConn's not out of this. She's going to go off. And then they cut it to close, I think it was 11-ish at the half.
They cut it.
Closer before that.
Yeah, it was like
They
7
extended
points.
it,
Yeah. So 8 at the half, and they even in the third. That in the third, they cut it down to 6, and you're like, all right, we've got a game. But then South Carolina.
I was going to actually ask you that. What were you thinking when they had those 2 threes in a row?
I got a little bit too excited. I got ahead of myself. Well, because AZ finally hit one, so I was like, if AZ can get going, they can get back to this. And Avina also not a great 3-point shooter, but a streaky shooter. So I was like, if she can come out and did what she did in the first half against Stanford,
like Destiny Henderson.
or like what Avina did in the first half against Stanford. She hit 3 triples, really kept UConn in that game in the first half. I was like, if they can make a couple more of them, it's gonna be a game. But that's not what happened.
No, I think like you mentioned to start, UConn kept fighting. They kept coming.
Which I think sorry not to cut you off.
No,
but
go ahead.
Just the theme of the season for this team, right? They come into this game. I don't think most people had them in the national championship going into this season. With everything they've been through in terms of the injuries, the adversity. Then they lose Dorka in the Elite Eight. They have AZ Fed sick tonight. Apparently, Olivia Nelson-Ododa was dealing with a groin injury tonight. Yeah. So it's just
Well, and Avina Westbrook got hurt.
Yeah, Avina Westbrook rolls her ankle in the second quarter. It's just the theme of one thing after another for this team. But credit to them, they fought through the game. They still made it to a national championship game. It's a pretty damn good end to the season.
Turns out this Gino Arema character is a decent coach.
Technically, they overachieved. I was looking through it because I was wondering. We never really. They were basically between 3rd and 5th the whole season in Herb Stats rating. I think we had them 3rd very early on because we were giving them credit from last year. But they finished 4th, right? So to make the Final Four, get that nice win on Friday. I think what was the quote from Paige that she got a taste of it and she kind of gonna learn from it or something, which is a little cliche, but also I think true. Yeah,
and I think Gino said it well too. But once this settles and they get past this loss, they can be really proud of what they accomplished this season.
Yeah. I do kind of want to take us into the more higher perspective, talking about this from a more historical perspective and just talking about where the programs are going to go now. Is there anything else we want to mention about the game though?
Well, I do feel like I want to highlight the record that they had. South Carolina, they set a number of records. I didn't catch all the ones that they mentioned in the press conference, but one we had tracked was that they ended up with 294 rebounds for the tournament, which is the most in a single tournament of any team in NCAA women's basketball history.
That's good. That's a positive statement.
And that's hard to do when you play at a not so fast pace, right? It's not like they're running up and down the court a zillion times.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it was slightly easier to do because they missed a ton of shots too, and they were awesome in the offensive glass. Yeah. So
that does help.
For the first 3 rounds, they were missing shots all the time, which kind of helped. But obviously, it's a monstrous accomplishment just because it wasn't just they got a ton of rebounds and it didn't help them win. They won because of the rebounding, which is an effort thing. Rebounding I don't know honestly, because it seems like Aliyah Boston, like Dennis Rodman, right, has studied the angles, right? Doesn't it strike you as she has studied the angles?
Is this now when we do the thing from The Last Dance? Right?
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, either that or it's just incredible instincts. But probably is studying. She's kind of young, right? So she had as much time as when Robin was studying it.
Yeah, but she's far more cerebral than Dennis Rodman in a lot of ways.
She has better hair too. His hair was interesting, but
her hair is legendary. And then the last thing we should mention is her calling out Candace Parker. I don't know what the context was of that, so if anyone knows, someone said it was shade, right?
Yeah, I not being that hip, ask you two youngins. I don't think I can call you youngin, but Megan knows where it's at.
Megan's a year younger than me.
1 year older than me.
I think that she's acting a little more. But,
I'm on TikTok.
Yeah, Gabe is actually hipper than I am.
I guess so. So yeah, no, it was unclear to me whether that was a random comment or whether in fact that was something that I guess we were all totally oblivious to.
I did see Dawn come over and start talking smack. But in a joking fun way.
Asia Wilson was in the house.
Oh yeah,
yes. Asia Wilson was having a time of her
Asia Wilson may have had the most fun of anyone from the South Carolina contingent.
I guess that Candace Parker might have been the biggest celebrity in the building today. What were we saying?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly to us.
Yeah.
As far as we know, at least.
I didn't see Michelle Young again.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Michelle, if you're listening, if you're somehow listening to this podcast, let us know. You can come on the show.
One thing I think was interesting before we kind of get into the bigger picture stuff to tie it back. So South Carolina shot 36.7% and UConn shot 40.7%. So not exactly stellar. But like, did we feel the way we did walking out of Friday? Like this game, did it feel interesting to you?
Yeah, I thought it was interesting because I mean, even though the final score doesn't make it look close, like it was within reach for UConn until a few minutes left in the game. Like, with 5 minutes left, you were still like, I think they were down 9. You're like, this did still go either way.
I wasn't.
I was like, they hit a couple threes and then right back in it. So
I
didn't really have a lot of faith that they were going to hit a couple threes. But like, it didn't feel over right until like probably
the backdoor cover was the backdoor cover was in play because I think the line was like 4.5. Let me know if you bet on this. Let me know because I did tell all my friends about South Carolina. They're very happy with me. Thanks to our model.
Thanks to our model. Calvin also gave us some confidence in it too.
Yeah. So I think it was a 4.5 point line for South Carolina. So I was like, I'm with you. Like it wasn't also like it didn't feel like either team played that poorly, right?
It's fascinating given what we said on Friday with similar shooting percentages.
And it's not the thing is,
I think if you were looking at two of the best defenses in the country, so you weren't. I wasn't expecting people to shoot the lights out in this game. Like that's not what you were expecting going in. I don't think UConn played well, but I think they played horribly in the first quarter. Yeah. And then they played fine for the rest of the game, but they could just never really get up. Because like if you take out the first quarter, it's basically an even game. So they just couldn't get back over that hump.
I guess it felt more like good defense tonight, maybe. Yeah. So that looked like quality play. It just wasn't on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean UConn won the second quarter by 6. It was actually it was fully tied. Oh no. South Carolina won the last 3 quarters by a point.
Yeah.
So
it really came down to that first quarter.
Yeah, that's why you can't. You got to play. You got to play all 40 minutes.
Oh, great.
Yeah, South Carolina opened both games 11-2.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's why they win, though. Yeah. That's how they win. But yeah, I'm with you. I think it felt a little bit cleaner and better.
Yeah, not an all-time classic, but very enjoyable.
Maybe we were also a little too harsh on Stanford and UConn.
No, it was a horrible game. It
was an ugly game.
Did anything they needed to do.
This was the game of the weekend. I feel comfortable saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't quite a classic though. We didn't get a classic.
They can't all be classics, otherwise the value's classics.
Okay, so let's kind of put this in historical perspective and look forward to what's ahead for both these teams. Let's start with South Carolina, obviously. So I did make a comment that this team is in the greatest ever tier. They're probably not, as Megan reminded me.
The UConn fan of the room is going to have a lot to say about that.
Even not UConn fan of the room is going to have a lot to say about that.
So we can comfortably go back to at least the Brianna Stewart UConn years and say this team
is the best since 2016. I'll let you have that.
Yeah, I think they are the best since 2016, which is it's a pretty long time. That's 6 years. Like that's 5 champions. That's a good stretch. We can even count whoever we want at 2020.
Again, what is your Twitter handle for people?
At Gabe _Ibrahim. Let me know. At Basketball Value, actually. That's my real one. The other one's the burner. At Basketball Value.
That's GABEIBRAHIM.
But it's I think this team. I think goes back to 2016. I think we can come loosely. I think this team is actually very good. Historical context, but I think the bigger historical context, perhaps, that I was trying to get at, is that Aliyah Boston had one of the best seasons ever. So even as UConn fan, would you deeply disagree with me?
No, I don't deeply disagree. I think there's a lot of players that you can put in that group, but I think she's one of them. She carried Destiny Henderson is the reason they won a national championship today, I think.
Yeah,
but
the game.
Today. And I mean, you can't just have one player carry you to a national championship. Your guards are going to have to step up. But Aliyah Boston carried this team for most of the season, or all of the season, really, and I think pretty single-handedly won them some games this season, for sure. They have had some stretches where their guards were not great, and they needed them to be great this weekend to win, and they did get that from them, but she's been the catalyst for this team all the way through.
And this tournament too. She's won them. She's won them games. I think
she won them the Miami game.
The Miami game. Another Miami reference on this podcast. Miami, UNC. I would say she almost won that single-handedly for them.
Oh yeah, without her performance on the glass against UNC, they lost that game.
Right, and it's just she motored them through so many rough spots offensively. And those rough spots offensively keep them from being in that conversation as one of the better teams ever. But I just think she was so dominant and steady too, right? Steady throughout the whole season.
Cool. I'll give you a couple stats. First of all, she had
Sure.
5 double-doubles in the 6 games. So the last time that happened, a little benefit not having a 2020 tournament was Nafisa Collier, actually, and Jessica Shepard in 2019.
Wow.
He was like a double every night consistent.
So it was Feet and Jessica Shepard?
Same year.
Wow.
But I think most importantly, which speaks to Boston, because I feel, we've talked about this all the time, right? Like, you look up and normally she has a ridiculous stat sheet today, which was really, really good. Her win shares, right, it's an estimate of the value that a player contributes, and win shares per 40 minutes is basically per minute, so how much value she's contributing every minute she's on the floor. And so she happened to have a value of 0.65, which doesn't necessarily have a ton of meaning to folks. But the people that have been that high, where did my list go? Was Nafisa Collier, Brianna Jones, but then most importantly, the only other people besides the two of them. So that hasn't been done since the two of them did that in 2016-17.
Okay.
So like higher than Asia Wilson.
Right.
And then the only people we'd go back. Dating back to 2010-11, that's where it gets an extra good cutoff. So a little bit of cherry picking. The only other players: Maya Moore, Brianna Stewart, Elena Deladon, and Brittany Griner. So
that's a
the
good list.
company. Now it's just the numbers. I'd be
Yeah.
curious to hear beyond the numbers what you think about whether she really could be in that group for college performance, I guess.
I don't know that she gets the Maya Moore, Brianna Stewart, Elena Deladon group.
Oh, and they were all higher. I want to be
Brittany
clear,
Griner
because of
group,
that,
But the FISA group, I mean, Nafisa was a great player. The fact that she never won enough Player of the Year award,
That's
it's a
ridiculous.
topic for a different day, but
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. I mean, you saw what she was able to do with the W right off. But I think I don't think she's in that. There's that tier, right? Of but I don't think she's quite there. But she's definitely among that next group of great players.
So I don't. I
She's
think,
still got another year to get there, but I don't
we're
talking about Brittany Griner, Maya Moore, Brianna Stewart. You're talking about the best players to ever play basketball.
Yeah, I'm talking about singular season. Too. I don't know. I mean, I'll have to dig in. We have to dig into it a little bit more, but I do. I think the first impression is correct. But I just think the team she played this year also. They played one of the toughest schedules.
They had the toughest schedule, but I think opponent win percentage and opponent margin of victory as well, per game and per possession.
Just this season, or how far?
This season.
Okay.
We were mostly focusing on that when we were looking at those stats.
Yeah. I would like to see how they did versus those teams all time, because I think they played one of the toughest. It'd be hard to play that many teams at the top in the regular season.
Keep talking.
That many teams in the top of the regular season,
Right.
and have those performances and lead your team to wins in those games and be everything for this team that she was. So maybe we're gonna look back on it. I think that maybe what happens is the way we think about the Deladons, Stewie, the Griners, right? We look back on those players so much more favorably because they were so great in WNBA, and Boston could totally do that. I think, right? At the very least, she could be there, right?
Yeah, she has the potential. I think she's a really good player. I don't know that she's going to get to that tier. I think that, but I mean, we were talking about a tier that literally has 4 players in it ever.
Yes.
So.
Well, someone's going to come at you for being disrespectful to Aliyah Boston.
I'm sure. But
for not putting her in a group with the 4 greatest players in the past 10, 20 years.
If people want to come for me for that, I'll accept that.
And the thing is, I think she's gonna get better. I mean, look from last year.
Oh, she's a totally different player than she was last year. Whatever she did in the off season this year, she is a significantly better player than she was last season.
Yeah. Well, I think she completely transformed her body. That was well documented. She just added things to her game. Those outlet passes were a little bit crisper. Her passes.
A little bit of range on her shot.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see her come back and you have to guard her from 3.
I think that's the next evolution
for everyone else.
Do we have the stats on the?
I have not been paying attention to your conversation.
Okay, no, it's fine.
I think I heard you talk about step back.
Drop in some stats.
So since 2009-10, the start of the Her Hoop Stats era, the only 3 other teams have won 90% of the games. And faced teams with an average opponent winning percentage of 64% or better. Yeah. It is Notre Dame in 2017-18, who were the champions. Notre Dame in 2014-15, when they were runners-up, I think, of finally 38-1 UConn team beat them in the final. So it was and I think they'd maybe been undefeated until then. I don't know what Notre Dame had been. And then also UConn in 2009, 2010. So in terms of being able to combine sort of the high winning percentage with the high opponent winning percentage, it's pretty rare.
Okay, now I also want to get into this. One of those losses was to Missouri. That and Missouri too, with what 6 players? I think they only
didn't have their,
who was out?
Did they
Was
not
Angel
have
Black?
No, I think Blackwell was there.
Oh.
Yeah.
But they only had 6 or 7 players. That, folks, might be in the conversation for one of the greatest upsets of all time. Right? Like, I can't, like...
I feel like it doesn't have the significance. I think in terms of like a game, in terms of a team upsetting like a team of that caliber, yes. But I think like the significance of it takes away from it. Like it's not in a tournament.
No, I'm
like
talking.
He's like a pure betting standpoint.
From like a pure like, how the hell did this happen standpoint. I think that's up there with the craziest upsets. Most unpredictable upsets in.
I thought Blackwell didn't play in that game.
She may not have.
Let me take a look.
I'm pretty sure
I think they only.
I feel like I remember being like, how did South Carolina lose this game when Missouri didn't even have their best player?
But it happens. That's why it's so hard, and to be one of the best teams in history,
why they don't get to,
you need to go.
We're not going to talk about that
Fine.
with the 2009-2010 UConn team that had the same strength of schedule when undefeated.
It's just look.
UConn.
I'm just saying. These Cocks have the length to compete with anybody.
Great length.
But
great length for the Cocks.
Some of those Diana Taurasi super UConn teams were better. Stellar quote from Diana Taurasi.
Blackwell did not play in that game.
Yeah.
Wow.
We went to OT.
Shout to Lauren Hansen, right? Hit the game winner. Yeah, I think Shout to Lauren Hansen. Also got us a ton of views on our Instagram.
Oh right, yeah.
And then this for South Carolina, Destiny Henderson's probably going to the draft. We think Victoria Saxon, I believe, can also be eligible to the draft if she wants to. We haven't heard from her. We assume Henderson's going to be in, but we don't know about Saxon.
I don't think they have enough scholarships for enough people to stay.
I mean, well, I think Lily Grissett is a senior, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody else on this team is leaving, and there's like 4 or 5 5-star recruits that play 39 seconds in this game. So, South Carolina, the era of Dawn Staley rolls on.
Do they have JV teams still?
So I bet you South Carolina's JV team may make the tournament. Maybe.
I don't know.
Shouts to Sanaya Rivers. I think she's going to be good, but she should not take threes. This is my take. But yeah, good for South Carolina. Let's talk about UConn really quick. Obviously this team is losing a lot, but it is UConn. Mm-hmm. So where does this team go from here?
I mean, I think they're still in a really good spot. Obviously, losing Avina Westbrook, Kristen Williams, Olivia Nelson-Ododa, that's a hard group to lose.
We assume
on Nelson-Ododa and Williams, but I feel like nothing's been said that would imply that they aren't going to be done. But, I mean, they bring back, Paige Becker's an easy fun.
Who?
So, that helped. But Nika Buell's back. Caroline Ducharme is back. That's a pretty solid backcourt in itself. And then in the front court, Aaliyah Edwards and then Dorka Juhas will be back for next season.
Right.
They've got Aubrey Griffin, who can be a terrific player, has been out all season.
Yeah.
So
I love her.
Yeah, her energy off the bench and her game is a lot of fun. DeBerry did play today.
That was what she's
whatever, but
she will have better games.
Yeah, she will have better games. So she's back, and then they've got 2 big recruits coming in too.
Yeah.
So
who are the recruits again?
Ice Brady and Ayanna Patterson.
And do you know what they're ranked or whatever?
I don't know off the top of my head.
So they might be down 2.
M. Adler, if you're listening, just hit us up.
Yeah.
M has the composite rankings.
I should know off the top of my head. I just don't.
Yeah, M has the composite rankings, but. Yeah, I mean, do they have spots for transfers?
I think so too. I wouldn't be surprised to see.
Okay.
Yeah, they're losing those 3. They've only got 2 coming in, so they've got a little space. I wouldn't be surprised to see trying to hit the portal if there's someone in there he's interested in.
Yeah, someone transferring up would be obviously you want to end up at UConn. If you
obviously, like Dorka Juhas, that's what they did with her last year. It was successful, and they get her for 1 more year. So
now here's a question: Do you think this is a matchup we're going to see in the championship again next year?
Very possibly. These are probably going to be the 2 best teams in the country next year.
They probably come in ranked 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So Stanford doesn't lose much.
When was the last time there was a rematch in the championship game?
I don't
It
know.
must have been UConn and someone.
Probably UConn Notre Dame or something.
Yeah,
like.
UConn and someone.
I mean, just ballpark, it just does not strike me as that would be a pretty obvious, a regular thing that happens. I mean, maybe they're the two best teams, but that doesn't mean.
Yeah, doesn't mean
I guess. Do
Yeah.
they come in? Do they come in ranked 1 and 2?
Yeah, that's.
Also, I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah, I do think they probably do come in ranked 1 and 2. Like, these are probably the 2 best teams going into the season next year.
Megan was right. It was Connecticut, Notre Dame, and 1450.
Stanford loses the whole Twins and Anna Wilson. That's they have a lot of talent to come in off the bench, but that is a pretty significant loss as well.
Yeah, and then I mean Louisville's losing Angsler, but they can.
And Williams.
Yeah, and Williams. But those, I mean, it's not necessarily irreplaceable, and they can get into the portal.
I mean, it's gonna I think you can't really say who's gonna come in ranked 1 and 2 until we see what happens with the transfer portal.
Right.
And, I mean, there could be players from these teams that are transferring. We don't know at this point, but
Fair.
So
I think the fact that they're in the final the championship game probably means people will vote for them to be preseason.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't think, but I think they probably deserve to be. Like, unless something wild happens in the transfer portal, like, these are probably your top 2 teams.
I would guess, right?
Yeah.
I would guess.
Okay, let's clip this and then we can rerun it about October 28th.
Whatever.
No, yes, we'll be wrong. But I could see these teams back to the final four.
Yeah.
I guess is the point. I could see both these teams back to the
I mean,
final
Gino
four.
basically
I feel
said
very
as
comfortable thinking
today.
South Carolina and UConn will
Yes.
potentially be in the Final Four next year.
Yeah.
What did Gino say? Sorry.
He basically said as much if they could have a season where they don't have to go through what they went through this season.
And they still made it.
And they still made it here.
No, good for them.
Yeah.
Good for them. I think they fought really hard, but it was
Yeah.
it was South Carolina's year, South Carolina's coronation here in Minneapolis, where it is snowing, and let's not do this in the north in April.
We get to go to Dallas next year. It should be much warmer in Dallas.
I like Minneapolis. This is a lovely city. The Aliyah Park Hotel has been lovely to us.
It has been great. I love our set.
Yes.
Shout out to Sean, who's been hooking us up all weekend.
Shouts to the Aliyah Park Marriott. We love you guys.
Yeah.
Speaking of history and speaking of warmer locations, one thing that was fun was we went to Tourney Town today. They had I guess you'd say a big poster with every single program.
Yeah.
Did any of those cities, were you like, oh, we need to go back there ASAP? Tampa, I noticed very prominently.
I don't love Tampa, but any
I
place
like
that's
Tampa.
warm would be great right now.
I'm trying.
You're still bitter about New Orleans.
Yeah, I am still better that we didn't get to go to New Orleans or San Antonio, both great cities that I've never been to, but supposed to be great cities.
Are they? I don't know. The NBA journalists all complain incredibly about San Antonio.
My parents went to San Antonio and loved it.
I feel like everyone I've ever known that's been to San Antonio loves it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not besmirching San Antonio. I just I know that.
All right,
Maybe
so
I'm just jaded.
hot take. Richmond is a great city, and we would have a blast in
I
Richmond.
don't think I've ever been to Richmond, but
Yeah,
I've been
Richmond's a really,
place.
it's a smaller city, but it's super fun.
I'm just trying to imagine the everybody that supports women's basketball in a city like Richmond.
Yeah, well, no, Richmond, you know, it's like the rest of the country.
Yeah. I used to work.
Right.
I did a little work. I was kind of back and forth from DC to Richmond. So
I would love to. I mean,
back in my Capital One days, right? They sponsor.
No, yeah, they are. They're
I think after Samuel Jackson started being the spokesperson, I worked there.
we could also do in DC. That'd be awesome for
Yeah.
me. Everyone come hang out with me. Stay at my
That's
house.
what I would love. Is
Yeah.
to start. I mean, I think people have sort of said there's a reason those cities don't bid on it, and it's actually quite expensive to
Yeah.
put it on there, and that's why. But I mean, do it in Barclays, do it in Seattle.
No, we're not going to Barclays. That's the whole point. We're not going that far north. It's DC and down.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. We're drawing a line.
It does not snow in New York City in April.
Does it not though?
Not usually.
I mean, does
Maybe March. Yeah, certainly not in. We could do it in central New Jersey near my place.
We're not going to do
No, Philly. Though.
We'll do it in Bridgeport.
Philly would be good.
We'll do it in Bridgeport.
No, Philly.
Bridgeport would be a horrible place to host a Final Four.
Philly would be great.
Anyway.
Philly would be great, and Don Staley, that's South
Yes.
Carolina.
Yeah, actually, no, Philly would be awesome.
Yeah.
Philly would be great. Although, man, that's a city where it'd be weird to have all these people. Not for any other reason, just because Philly would be a weird city to have everyone. Just because Philly is an extremely aggressive place, and we are. This is an extremely aggressive.
I think it would be great.
Oh, I
They would
love
it.
Philadelphia.
And if it could be a Gino, right? And they were talking about it today. I know the Philly Inquirer was writing a lot of stories about the Philly.
I feel like if it was in New York or Philly, people would start complaining about being a UConn home crowd.
Oh, I think it would be a South Carolina home crowd because she's.
It's a lot easier to get to Philly from Connecticut than it is.
It's a lot easier to get to
South Carolina.
Philly. It's a lot easier to get to Philly
Sure.
than Bridgeport from South Carolina.
Charlotte would be.
Oh,
Charlotte would be
that would be
excellent. Charlotte would be excellent. Or, honestly, I'll say it. Greensboro's a great place. A lot of tournaments should be in Greensboro. Now, I'll leave it at that. The one last thing I want to mention about the locations, though, is I'm going to steal Mitch Northam's idea to have the first four, because eventually we're going to move to having the first four in a neutral site like the men do, right? Well, hypothetically.
Eventually, yes.
Put it in Norfolk, Virginia, because that's where the first two championships were. To harken back to the start of the tournament, put it in Norfolk. They have some nice stadiums there. It's a lovely place. I lived in Williamsburg for 3 years, and I really love the peninsula. So, put that in Norfolk. That's my last thought.
I can't take credit for this idea, but I saw it, and I don't agree with the trying to put the men's and women's championships in the same spot. But I've seen the suggestion on Twitter to put the women's first four in Dayton with the men's, because the Dayton does such a good job with the men's and just put them together, and I kind of like that idea.
But do we want to go to Dayton?
No, but
I'm going to marinate on that one.
But I just think if you already have an event like that, because the first four, right, I don't think it matters where you're going to put it. I don't know that it's going to draw great crowds. So why not put it in some place that already somehow manages to draw a decent crowd for a
I would say
first four?
Des Moines. Right? Iowa loves its women's basketball.
I'm not.
Something like that.
It's too cold. That's too cold. Early March?
I didn't say we're going to cover it live in Des Moines, but that's a place that loves its women's basketball.
Shouts to my Iowa friends. I love you guys, but I'm not going to early March. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think. The places that support women's basketball.
Yes.
Because, Dayton strikes me, because, when are you going to play it if they're already playing the men's games on Tuesday and Wednesday?
To bring it back here, there's actually a ton of Iowa State fans here.
Exactly.
Ames is a 3-hour drive away, so I guess.
Drake gets a ton of support.
Yeah, so
shout out UNI.
I actually don't mind. I like this idea. If we don't put it in Norfolk for the history of it, and for Gabe's convenience,
so Gabe can drive there.
I wouldn't mind it being in Des Moines. I do need to make a trip to Iowa, not in the winter, at some other point. Any parting thoughts? Let's go around. Let's give a parting thought. Megan, do you have one for us?
I think it's just been a good weekend. I'm out of takes. I'm tired.
Megan's take is that she is tired and out of takes. Aaron, what is your
It was a great game. It has been a great weekend. Great to see everybody. I did the math. 5,201 Division I games this season. That was the game that crowned South Carolina's champion. What a journey! It's been a great season to watch. I think that we are seeing sort of the parity. South Carolina was the leader, but it was never certain, and so I think that's what made it compelling. We saw so much talent, so many great performances, and back to it in a week with the WNBA draft.
That is my take. There's no rest. We're right back in it. But man, this season was magical. We really got to get together this year, and it felt kind of normal and real, and I was a little emotional. I was like super sad leaving the stadium. I collect.
Yeah.
I'm one of these people, right? I collect the confetti. I was on the floor collecting confetti, and I have a little pack of confetti and my tickets. I'm gonna do something with them, but it was emotional to just see that's it. The season's over.
It's a sad day. It's such a fun day, but then
it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
That's the cost of women's basketball is that it never stops. But the benefit is it's really not that long until we're starting to get exciting basketball. Now, not everybody that follows women's college basketball follows WNBA as closely.
But we hope you do. You should.
Yeah. I mean, every to each their own.
Yeah.
I understand that. But it is great that there will kind of be games. It's not that incredibly long. Let's say men's college basketball in particular.
Yeah. No, it's just the closing of a chapter. And that's always emotional, good and bad. Because of all the memories you made, and that it's kind of over. But
and I gotta say, congratulations to South Carolina, Dawn Staley, Aliyah Boston, right? A little bit of heartbreak last year, and it's just I'm happy for them.
I'm happy for them too, and I think we ended up with the best. No offense, we ended up with the best team winning the championship this year. I don't think that's too much in debate. So good for South Carolina. Thank you to everyone that has tuned in for the college basketball season, and we hope that you stick around with us for the WNBA season, for the next college basketball season, for the next WNBA season, and for the rest of your life, because we will be here talking about basketball. Not necessarily in Minneapolis in the Elliott Park Hotel, but we will be somewhere. So we hope to catch you.
Warmer.
Yeah, hopefully somewhere warmer, and hopefully somewhere where Gabe did not catch a cold because he forgot to bring a coat. So for Barzilai, for Megan Gauer, I'm Gabe Ibrahim. We'll talk to you very soon.